For a few delicious but teasingly short weeks in the springtime, every walk outside is another chance to deeply inhale the best scent in our whole city. The star jasmine is taller than me, creating walls of dark, waxy greenery and pops of white blooms, blocking my peeping Tom view of neighbors' patios. Star jasmine that wraps and winds its way around iron fence posts, spreading its arms and staking its claim, like that person who arrives early and saves seats for those who always arrive late. Star jasmine that grows full and bushy in every direction, untamed as a weed, spilling over onto the sidewalk, a welcome intrusion. I don't remember seeing that star jasmine until about a decade ago. I'm sure it was there, but it didn't register. I happen to know exactly when I started noticing it. My last semester of law school, in a class called Professional Responsibility. We were required to take this class to learn the Texas legal ethics rules so that we wouldn't break them. Later in life, when I talk to law students, they love to ask, "What law school class do you use the most?" It often surprised them when I said, "Professional responsibility." The class I used most was the one about how not to be a sleazy, unethical trope of a lawyer. First of all, yes. Some of those rules are not as intuitive as you would think, and I had a very nagging feeling that I was going to violate ethics rules, both intentionally and unintentionally. But mostly, I think about that class because Professor Duncan made us keep a journal of 3 good things that happened every day of the semester. She was a lawyer at a big, demanding law firm before academia, and she told us there would be days as a lawyer when we would be absolutely miserable. Statistically, as members of the legal profession, we were now more likely than the average Joe to be depressed, become addicts, and get divorced. She wanted us to practice looking for slivers of happiness each day, no matter how small, so that when we inevitably came across greater episodes of unhappiness when we were 2, 4, 6 years into practice, we would remember that there is good in the world. We had to turn this journal in every couple of weeks. I don't think it was graded, but she wanted to make sure we did it. I took it about as seriously as one takes a non-graded participation requirement. If being a lawyer is miserable, being a law student is a mere second. So sometimes finding 3 things per day was a stretch. I studied a lot. I didn't have a lot of time for doing fun things with friends. Most days, 2 of my 3 good things were my new dog, Murphy, and whatever food I ate that day. 10 years later, Murphy and food are still top highlights of any given day. During that time, I walked out of the law building and stopped. What is giving off that amazing smell? I slowed down and looked up from my self-involved power walking long enough to find the source. These little white star-shaped flowers. It was absolutely one of my good things that day. Pretty soon, I started noticing the star jasmine everywhere on my walks with Murphy. Had this always been here, and I'm only now noticing it because I never walked outside before I got a dog? By the next spring, I was a real lawyer and not a happy one. When I smelled the star jasmine for the first time that year, I instantly thought of Professor Duncan's class and the 3 good things. The smell of jasmine had become the scent memory inextricably linked to that journal exercise, that class, that whole semester. She had been so right. Some days I was really stretching to find even one high point. Is this food, this $15 sad desk salad, the highlight of my day? God, that's pathetic. I look forward to the blooms every year, and every year it makes me think I should tell her how often I think of that journal exercise. The big freeze in 2021 killed all the star jasmine in my neighborhood, and it didn't bloom that spring. Perhaps it isn't a coincidence that I reached a breaking point that year and quit being a lawyer. They also renovated the law school around then. I wonder if the star jasmine is still there. I hope it is, for the sake of the future lawyers who need to know about it. I've smelled every lotion at Bath & Body Works that claims to smell of jasmine. None of it smells like Houston in April. I tried to grow it in my small flower bed, but it doesn't survive. Doesn't have anywhere to climb. Maybe there's some lesson from the universe to appreciate beautiful things where and how they are, without trying to capture them or own them for myself. Every year when the first buds appear on the leaves, I stick my face to the fences and inhale deeply. Sometimes it's too early and it doesn't smell like anything, but I don't want to miss even a day of its blooming because it only blooms for a couple of weeks, and then we must wait a whole year for it to reappear. I guess what I'm saying is, it is my professional responsibility to tell you to inhale deeply of whatever beautiful things you can for as long as you can, because happiness can't be bottled and saved for later.
Okay, give it up for our last reader. Give it up for all of our readers. Give it up for all of our writers. Real quick thing before I send you home. Again, don't forget to follow Grown Up Storytime at Grown Up Storytime on Facebook and Instagram. And then if you want to write a story, send it to grownupstorytimehouston@gmail.com. Subscribe to their YouTube by scanning this QR code with your phone. And remember, this week, if you have the capacity to help someone out, please do so. Have a great night. See you next month. Look at yours.